Hundreds of millions of pounds meant for children simply disappeared. Kids Company initially promised a haven for up to 20,000 vulnerable young people, offering hope and vital services across the United Kingdom for over 17 years. This grand vision secured extensive government grants totaling nearly £50 million, with private donations pushing total income over £250 million throughout its 17-year operation. Beneath this philanthropic facade, deep cracks emerged, revealing severe financial mismanagement and deceit, leaving countless children abandoned without essential support. Executives enjoyed six-figure salaries, some earning over £150,000 annually, while the organization spiraled into debt, accumulating £7 million of deficit yearly. Funds for mental health programs, food and shelter were diverted to extravagant staff expenses, elaborate parties, and poorly justified ventures offering little tangible benefit to the children. The charity operated with alarming financial control deficiencies, maintaining dozens of separate bank accounts, making robust oversight nearly impossible for auditors. Repeated warnings from financial advisors and whistleblowers were consistently ignored or actively suppressed, creating an environment where accountability was non-existent and unchecked spending became the norm. Over 8 different government departments provided substantial funding over its lifespan, each failing to adequately scrutinize the charity's increasingly questionable financial practices. This systemic failure allowed the deceptive practices to continue for many years, directly impacting around 10,000 children and young adults who relied on Kids Company for their safety and future. The organization eventually collapsed in 2015 after a final emergency government grant of £3 million proved insufficient to cover its massive liabilities, leading to public outcry and multiple investigations. Thousands of staff were laid off abruptly, and vital services ceased without warning, leaving children and young people in critical need with nowhere to turn. The aftermath revealed a culture of fear, intimidation, and unbridled personal expenditure, disguised as compassion. Millions of pounds of public money and private donations were squandered on an organization that ultimately failed its core mission, betraying the trust of an entire nation and leaving a devastating legacy of broken promises and unfulfilled potential for scores of youngsters. The scale of financial mismanagement was unprecedented for such a charity, illustrating a profound institutional breakdown, allowing vast sums to be misused for nearly 2 decades without repercussion. Children starved while executives feasted. Kids Company, a supposed haven for up to 20,000 vulnerable young people, instead became a money pit for its leaders for 17 years. This supposed charity secured nearly £50 million in government grants, yet its total income exceeded £250 million throughout its operation. Beneath a facade of compassion, executives enjoyed six-figure salaries, some taking home over £150,000 annually. The organization accrued a staggering £7 million deficit yearly, a sum that could have transformed countless young lives by providing crucial support. Funds earmarked for critical mental health programs, food, and shelter, vital for basic survival, were shamelessly diverted. Instead, they fueled extravagant staff expenses, lavish parties, and poorly justified ventures that offered negligible benefit to the children they claimed to serve. Imagine dozens of separate bank accounts, making robust oversight by auditors virtually impossible, a deliberate system designed to obscure the truth and hide financial impropriety. Repeated warnings from financial advisors and courageous whistleblowers were not just ignored, they were actively suppressed, ensuring a culture where accountability was a myth and unchecked spending became the devastating norm. 8 different government departments poured substantial funding into this abyss over its lifspan, each failing to adequately scrutinize the charity's increasingly questionable financial practices. This systemic breakdown allowed the deceptive practices to fester for many years, directly impacting around 10,000 children and young adults who desperately relied on Kids Company for their safety and future. The charade finally crumbled in 2015 after a final emergency government grant of £3 million proved woefully insufficient to cover its massive liabilities. Public outcry ensued, and multiple investigations were launched. Thousands of dedicated staff were laid off abruptly, and vital services for children ceased without warning, leaving young people in critical need with nowhere to turn. The aftermath was truly horrifying, revealing a deeply entrenched culture of fear, intimidation, and unbridled personal expenditure disguised as genuine compassion. Millions of pounds of public money and private donations were squandered on an organization that ultimately betrayed its core mission. It broke the trust of an entire nation, leaving a devastating legacy of broken promises and unfulfilled potential for scores of youngsters. The sheer scale of this financial mismanagement was unprecedented for such a charity, clearly illustrating a profound institutional breakdown, allowing vast sums to be misused for nearly 2 decades without meaningful repercussion. Kids Company's fall showed how hope itself could be stolen from the most vulnerable, leaving behind only a trail of deceit and despair for the children who needed urgent help most during their formative years. Their last hope vanished in an instant. Kids Company shattered the lives of thousands of deeply vulnerable children. For nearly 2 decades, from 1996 to 2015, this supposed beacon for around 10,000 young people diverted essential funds meant for their very survival. Instead of receiving mental health support, food, and shelter crucial for basic survival, public funds exceeding £250 million in total, including nearly £50 million from 8 government departments, were consumed by lavish staff expenses and questionable ventures. A staggering annual £7 million deficit became a norm, revealing systemic financial rot that put executives on 6-figure salaries, some earning over £150,000 each year. Imagine children facing starvation while those at the top enjoyed opulent lifestyles. A cruel irony played out over 17 years. The abrupt collapse in 2015 following a final £3 million emergency grant left approximately 1,400 staff without jobs and thousands of youngsters without their vital lifelines. These children, already facing immense challenges, were suddenly abandoned. The charity's 24-hour helpline, which received over 178,000 calls in its final year, was shut down, leaving countless young people in crisis. Whistleblowers who tried to expose the truth about dozens of secret bank accounts and the culture of fear were ignored or silenced. The betrayal ran deep. This was not merely financial mismanagement. It was a profound failure of care. The promise of sanctuary became a source of further trauma. Public trust shattered completely as revelations emerged of widespread intimidation within the organization. Over £7 million had been funneled to other organizations that were either related or poorly managed, showing an intricate web of unaccountable spending. Young people who were promised a future found their immediate present in ruins. The sheer scale of the deception meant that millions of pounds in both public and private donations were squandered, impacting around 10,000 specific children and young adults who relied on the charity for everyday needs like schooling, housing, and protection. The true cost extends beyond the financial. beyond the £250 million lost to the broken spirits of an entire generation of vulnerable youth. This colossal institutional failure left an indelible mark, demonstrating how deep-seated corruption could steal more than just money. It could steal hope itself from the most deserving. The charity operated with complete impunity for almost 2 full decades.